Redditors who grew up in small towns, what was the incident? A light shining into the sky a couple times from out in the woods. Police went out to check it, found a man no one knew in a cabin no one knew of, loaded with guns and ammunition. When asked why he had so many, what he was doing shining a light into the sky. He was sending a beacon to the alien species. They told him to shine a light to guide them, when he had things ready for them. Yeah. It was hushed up, but the former sheriff of my hometown stole people's lawnmowers and sold them for scrap for close to a decade. Weird place. The incident involved sheep. A flock of sheep kept on the town green migrated through a broken fence into the adjacent cemetery. The sheep became known as the landscapers because they did a better job of manicuring the cemetery grounds than the maintenance person. So this happened a couple years before I went there, but this was the talk of my high school for like half a decade, and half the town knew folks involved, so it just became town lore. There was a special needs kid who was loved by our school and our community. He was always smiling and happy, and while only ever really talkative when it was about his own interests, you couldn't help but like the guy and get along with him. Even bullies were kind to the kid, and while some people avoided him, no one was ever rude or dismissive towards him. Just a genuinely good kid who was liked by all, cause you couldn't help but like him. He got beaten up by a bully who came to our school from the really fucked up Last Chancer school a few suburbs over. Word got out when someone saw him in the infirmary bruised to the nines and crying. Dumbass bully took credit but really didn't need to since there were witnesses, and word got around pretty quickly. A dozen seniors cornered him after school when the bully was walking home and took turns beating the shit out of them. Apparently they almost killed him. Never saw him again after that, so I've no idea what happened. I just know he got hospitalized for ages. No one was willing to rat them out, and the teachers and overworked cops didn't really seem too fussed in finding out who got rid of the bully. The friendly kid came back a few weeks later all healed up, and everything continued as normal. Guy in my high school knocked up the daughter of the local fitness center owner. The owner offered him a car to leave his daughter alone and not be a part of the baby's life. He accepted the offer and took the car. Once she gave birth, they ran away together in the car. The fitness center owner found them, torched the car, and threatened to kill the guy. They fought and the baby daddy won. This apparently garnered some respect from both men, and now everyone seems like a happy family. Small town in Missouri. Bianca Piper, it was 2005, supposedly she went for a walk after a fight with her mom and was never seen again. I was a junior in high school and skipped school that day. My friends and I freaked when we saw cop cars and helicopters out everywhere. Thought they were looking for us. Everyone here has always said her mother had something to do with it. Her older sister got arrested years later for a sex trafficking thing in STL, I think. Pastor's son got caught jerking it to gay porn in the walk-in freezer at the Pizza Hut. He did not work at that Pizza Hut. Had to do a debate on religions, but my school blocked all the non-Christian websites, so we needed the IT guy to unblock the sites. When I asked my teacher to get an IT guy, he said that we were unable to block the sites at the moment. Turns out that same day the IT guy was arrested for over 500 counts of child porn on his work computer. He fucking dragged the child porn into the computer's trash can and thought it would disappear forever, the IT guy. A little over 30 years ago, the police and fire departments played in a charity basketball game that raised funds for DARE. Shortly after the game, some of the cops that played gave short anti-drug speeches for the crowd. Early the next morning, state police came into town and arrested a lot of those cops for being part of a local drug ring. A more lighthearted one happened only 5 years ago. The town's getting ready for its annual Christmas tree lighting when the organizers noticed the wiring for the lights had been damaged. They reported to the police, who then put out a bunch of public notices about how vandalism will not be tolerated in our family-friendly town and beefing up security around the area. It ended up being a squirrel that chewed through the wire. Teacher swinger sex ring got exposed. Everyone in the school and their parents found out pretty quick. Middle school vice principal ended up divorcing his wife due to later swinging incident. It started with the kids from down the road playing my neighbor's haystack. My neighbor was, unfortunately, batshit crazy. So he put bear traps in his haystack. The kids found the bear traps, luckily without getting caught in one, and ran home to tell their dad. Dad comes over with a baseball bat, proceeds to beat the crap out of the bear traps. Few days later, my neighbor spots the kid's dad driving by in his pickup truck, so jumps into his own truck and follows him. They wound up in the nearby wildlife preserve, shooting at each other's trucks with hunting rifles. Luckily they didn't hit each other, just the trucks. That finally caught official attention and they ended up in front of a judge. They both got scolded, neighbor for owning old-style legal bear traps and kid's dad for damaging property. Fighter pilot drew a dick in the sky. The thing I was most aware of was that a teacher was sleeping with one of the high school students, then he, the student, got her pregnant and she kept it. She was fired, don't know what she does now, and the dude who knocked her up is the local drug dealer now. I was in the same year as the kid that resulted from that, he was a nice guy. Felt bad for him cause everyone was always trying to figure out who the kid was, since everyone knew he'd be at the school that year but didn't know who it was. If you ask me, kind of fucked up to stay in the same town and make your kid go to the same high school that happened in. A little girl had a seizure or hit her head. Nobody knows for sure, in the YMCA swimming pool, went unconscious and drowned during a youth swim team practice. My sister and her friends were also on the team. They saw her at the bottom of the pool and thought she was just messing around. Lifeguards and instructors weren't even paying attention. 1988, an autistic kid from HS was walking down the sidewalk on the highway that ran through the middle of town. A couple rednecks that were always bullying him in school saw him, U-turned and sped into the parking lot he was walking past. They ran over to him and kept him from walking away while they taunted him. He tried pushing through and one of the guys intentionally shoved him off the sidewalk right in front of a semi. Killed him instantly. Edit, I don't know if he was diagnosed as autistic back then, but knowing what we know now, that was most likely. A 14-year-old girl was dating an 18-year-old man. The girl's parents did not approve of the relationship. The girl hatched out a plan to kill her parents. The guy was not so bright, maybe learning disability? So he went along with it. She snuck him in through her window. He shot the dad dead, shot the mom who was able to run into another room. She was gurgling blood begging for mercy, and the girl basically ordered the execution/final blow. Due to some weird law, early 90s, juries could not pursue life in prison, so had to order death penalty. Dude was executed. Girl just had to serve in juvie until 18 and was released like nothing happened, despite being the mastermind doing everything but pull the trigger. https://theovereducatedhousewife.home.blog/tag/Jessica Wiseman/ I was a visible minority at my predominantly 99% Caucasian high school. Post 9/11 someone was calling bomb threats into the high school. We were evacuated to local hockey arena from which detectives with vice principal, a teacher, and secretary pointed me out in the crowd and asked me to come with them. Got questioned in the vice principal's office, who was the former librarian mind you, so he was always on a power trip sitting all smug in his chair with his hands always like this, praying gesture. Anyways, I wasn't their guy. I proceeded to order 40 large pizzas to the school from a payphone with the nastiest ingredients and all on behalf of that cocksucker. After the pizzas arrived there were 3 separate intercom announcements school-wide about whoever ordered these pizzas, we demand you come to principal's office now. Bahahaha. Fuck that guy.